Hey guys, Dion here with your Guitar Academy, and in this lesson we're going to take those cage shapes, major cage shapes that we looked at in the previous lessons, and add some cool little embellishments in them in the style of John Frusciante. So this is a really great way to get your foot in the door with this kind of idea of playing rhythm and lead guitar at the same time. So grab a guitar and let's get going. Before we get started, don't forget to head over to the website to find all additional materials, including tab, backing tracks, and also the lesson write-ups. And also, please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave us a comment, and we'd love to hear how you're getting on. All right, so let me just quickly remind you of our chord progression from last lesson. It was something like this. So we obviously had our E shape, playing an A chord, our C shape, playing an E chord, and our G shape, playing a D chord. All right, so you remember those chords. So we're going to now take a look at some embellishments that I've written in the style of John Frusciante to fill in some of those gaps. So this is a really cool and really kind of distinctive and quite a crowd-pleasing style when you can play rhythm and lead at the same time. So I've given you these embellishments. Bear in mind, there's a bunch of these out there. But these are some to just really get your foot in the door in the style of John. And you can actually apply these anytime you use these chord shapes. So obviously they're in a set key here, but I'll kind of explain as I go along how we can move them around. So let me just play them for you first, one after the other, and we can hear what they sound like. So it sounds something like this. Okay, so the single most important thing when you're playing this style is to never lose sight of the pulse of the music. So rhythm and timing is absolutely key for this. So if I play that a little bit more up tempo with a bit more of a funk thing, and I'll kind of disregard the rhythm a bit, and you'll hear how it can really start to fall apart. So I'll do it kind of the proper way first, and then I'll just go a bit off kilter and you'll hear it. So. So if I start to play that without the pulse, it sounds something like this. You know, it's kind of hard to do it, you know, out of time when I'm used to doing it in time. But my point being, when I'm playing the lead and I'm swapping between the two, I've still got that feeling of the pulse in my head, okay? You know, it's a distinctive kind of feel, that kind of downbeat there. So that's just the first thing, the disclaimer that, you know, when you play this style, you really have to make sure that you're you know, not getting too distracted by these lead parts, and you've got very conscious of the rhythm. So let's take a look at the first one that we use in, you know, in conjunction with our E shape. So these are actually also all built kind of around pentatonic shapes. So we're going to have a look at which ones relate to which as well. So first embellishment based around this chord. So we start on the 5th fret of the B string, and we hammer quickly onto the 7th fret of the same string with our 3rd finger. So like that. So we've played the chord 1, 2, 3 E. So that's 2 16th notes to start there. Okay. Then we move up to the E string, the 5th fret there, which is the note of A. Okay, and then we come back down again, 7, 5 on B, and the rhythm goes 3 E and 4 and 3 E and 4 and. So the chord is strummed for the first 2 beats. 1, 2, 3 E and 4 and. Okay, so if you have a look at the workbook as well, you'll see that this is very closely built around this box 2 of A major pentatonic. Okay, so this is really a useful thing to visualize as well when you're playing these cage shapes, is look at their kind of related pentatonic boxes as well, because it really helps you understand these embellishments a bit more. So Let's try that one with some drums. Before we move on to the others, let's have a little go. 70 BPM. In fact, you know what? I will actually just notch it down to 60 for this because these things can fly by quite quick otherwise. So down to 60. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2. Yeah, so that's the rhythm for that one. And as I was banging on about in the last lesson, it's really, really important to use drums or a metronome when you're practicing this, as it gives you that rhythmic context, okay? Right, let's look at embellishment number 2. So this one is related to our E chord, played as a C shape. So this one goes... So we've got a slightly different rhythm here and obviously a slightly different pentatonic box as well. So remember, that's our C-shaped chord played as an E. So we do the similar thing to the first chord. We allow that chord to ring for 2 beats. 1, 2. And then here we have this cool little double stop thing. So we're starting with the second finger still on the 5th fret of B, the 3rd finger on the 6th fret of G. And we play those two together. And then our 3rd finger lifts up and it plays the 4th fret of G, so like so. And the rhythm of that is just 3 and. There's no 16th notes there yet. So it would go 1, 2, 3 and, okay? 2, 3 and then the last part we have 2 16th notes followed by an 8th note, and it sounds like this. So that's the 4th fret of D, hammering onto the 6th fret, again with the 1st, 3rd finger, and then we come up to the 4th fret of G. So the full embellishment goes like that. Rhythm-wise, it goes 1, 2, 3, and 4 E and. 1, 2, 3, and 4 E and. Okay? With the rhythmic context, something like this. Okay, so that's it with some drums. I must add as well, if you want to add a little bit more flair to it, you can actually hammer on to that 6th fret on G if you want to. That sounds even more kind of Hendrix and Frusciante like. They're very, very known for that sort of, those sorts of hammer-ons. So it would sound something like 2. Yeah, but it sounds just as good, you know, playing it as it's notated as well. So this one is actually related to pentatonic box 4. There, as you can see that there. Remember, the first one is related to box number 2. And this one is box 4. So if we play them one after the other, it sounds kind of cool. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 2. Yeah, with some drums. And then I'll add that little hammer on as well. Some added flair. 3 and 4 and 1, 2. There's a few different ways you can add a bit of flair. You know, hammer-ons and pull-offs here and there. But as I say, if you play it as it's notated, it sounds great as well. So let's look at the final one. So the final embellishment is on this G shape here. So this one doesn't feature as many hammer-ons or or should I say as many single notes. This is more kind of double stops, this one. And it's focused around that box number 1 that we all know and love, you know, that pentatonic shape 1 there. So we're starting up here on the 7th fret of D, G and B with that shape. Obviously the 4th finger is up on the 10th fret of the high E. And this one sounds like this. We go 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. So you see we're using the bulk of the chord there to support this kind of melody of what's going on. So sounds really cool. So notes wise, all I'm doing is sticking at that top 10th fret up there, and I'm strumming downwards, then lifting the 4th finger, allowing that 7th fret to come out. You can just play it on its own. It's notated on its own, but it's kind of nice as well if you let the chord ring out. So you see the rest of that chord is playing underneath there. So, and then all we do is the same thing on the B string. Like that. So, and rhythm-wise, I'm just going 1, 2, 3, and 4, and simple as that. So with the drums, something like this. 2, 3, 4, and 3 and 4 and. Okay, and again, you know, similarly to embellishment number 2, where we added some little hammer-ons and pull-offs, you can do it here if you want to. You could go, you know, hammer on to that 10th fret, and it sounds kind of cool. So that's hammering from the 1st finger to the 4th. So if I play all 3 of those back to back now, we can hear what it sounds like. So with some drums, it would go like this. Three, 4, once more. Okay, so that's what we've got going on there. If I try it maybe just a touch faster, let's go up to 75, and then add some of those hammer-ons in there as well. You can hear it starts to pick up a bit of pace, so something like this. And there you go. So take your time with that. Just spend a little bit of time kind of getting used to those. Oh, let me just stop the drums. Take a bit of time getting used to those embellishments on their own, and then also applying them within the context of that, you know, strumming style and strumming pattern. So as I say, golden rule of this style of playing is never lose sight of that rhythm and that pulse. Metronome is key, or drums, of course, absolutely key. What you can then try is you can even try moving those chords around. So bear in mind, those embellishments will work anytime you play those chords. So for instance, if I moved it down a tone, I could still go. So on. Yeah, so these will always relate to the chord anytime you play this now. So if you're playing this style, feel free to use these embellishments as you wish. And this is just, you know, a few of many, 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 many different things you can do as embellishments, but it's just to help you get your foot in the door of this playing style of John Frusciante. So take your time with that, have fun, and I'll see you in the next lesson. That's it for this lesson. If you want to go to the next lesson, you can click here. And if you want to go back to the beginning of the course, you can click here. And also, please like and subscribe. And also leave us a comment. Any questions, we'd love to hear how you're getting on.